Hi guys, welcome to R15. My name is Eagle Sacosta, and today we are going to be looking at the brake bleeding process of the R15 version 3. This one is a ABS model here. It's going to remain the same for the non-ABS as well. I'm going to be walking you through the entire process, so make sure you stick with us till the very end of the video. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then please do so. And also make sure you give us a like and share this video with your friends. So without any further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, so I'm going to be walking you through whatever tools you require for the entire process. We don't require any special tools for this. We just require the basics. For my R15 V3, the front brake bleeder valve nut is actually 11 mm, so we require 11 mm ring spanner for that. We also require 8 mm for the rear, and a syringe. This is just to get the brake fluid, the old brake fluid out of the reservoirs, the cotton. This is a vinyl hose which you'll probably find in a hardware store, so get this. Make sure you take the bike along with you so that you can match the exact size of the brake bleed valve with this particular hose. And we might require this cutter, and we need a clean cloth and a dirty rag just to make sure that we don't spill any brake fluid onto the paint. So we'll just cover this. We use it to cover the painted surfaces. And we also require a bottle, a plastic bottle. This is required to collect the old brake fluid. And the brake fluid itself, this is the new brake fluid. Now the brake fluid specification will be mentioned on your brake fluid reservoir cover. Now for my particular bike, it's .4. And we might also require a mallet just to tap out the screw heads. You don't want to slip them, so make sure you get a mallet just to tap the screws out. Sometimes they are really tight, fastened really tight, so you might want to get those things loose, tap them out. And also make sure you get the right size of the bit for the reservoir container cap, because you might end up slipping the screw heads. So make sure this thing fits properly. And yeah, that's about it. That's the tool required for the process. Okay, so let's get right into the process. The first thing we require to do is take this reservoir cover off. So we have to take this bracket off first. So it requires a 10 mm wrench. Just make sure you loosen it up. And once that is done, it should come right off. Let it once that's off. You need to just make sure you tighten this leg up because this thing's kind of wobbling. Make sure you take this. You have to take this cap off and make sure you take it off really carefully. Be careful not to drip any of the brake fluid out. One more thing I forgot to mention, make sure you cover this area with a rag so that you don't, if in case you happen to spill any brake fluid, it doesn't spill right onto the painted surface, since this is reactive. Now the next thing you need to do is make sure you clean this vacuum cover and make sure you don't touch the surfaces which have brake fluid on them. It's pretty reactive. Okay, so once you come here, you can see that the color of the brake fluid is pretty bad. It's not supposed to look like this. It's almost kind of like transparent. Now this thing's turned almost black, even though it's just been 1.5 years, and that's the recommended time interval for you to change a brake fluid. On my bike, at least 1 to 2 years. 1.5 to 2 years, and this needs to be changed definitely. So first thing that we'll be doing is we're going to get a bottle and a syringe just to suck this out, the brake fluid. So we're just going to take the old brake fluid out and dump it off into the plastic bottle. So once you're done doing this, you can see I've already sucked out all of the brake fluid and dumped it in this bottle. And also I've cleaned the reservoir container. Make sure you do that because later on you don't want any dust or anything remaining there. And also make sure you just cover this off. Meanwhile, I'll just get these two cleaned. I'll use soap water for the cleaning of these two, this diaphragm and this particular cover. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is go ahead and fill your reservoir to the upper limit or the upper mark which has been provided on a reservoir. Oh, slow. Okay, so as you can see, I've filled it up. So make sure this level remains above this particular hose here, or else you will draw air into the system. So now at this point what you have to do is just make sure you cover this up with this particular plastic cover, otherwise while you pump the brake it's going to spill fluid out. So the next thing you need to do is get your plastic hose, the vinyl hose, and connect it with your bleeder valve. Now before that I require 8 mm ring spanner. Just go ahead and make sure you loosen this up. Okay, so at this point, once you have the other end of the hose into the bottle, make sure you keep one hand on the wrench here and the other on the brake pedal. So at this point what you have to do is just make sure you depress the brake pedal and as hard as you can, and at the same time loosen this particular bleed valve. So as you can see, the old brake fluid is coming into the vinyl hose. Now why I've chosen this vinyl hose, this transparent vinyl hose is because you'll be able to monitor, as in you'll be able to see the air bubbles coming out, so you need that. That's very important. So at this point, like I said, you had already depressed the pedal, loosen the bleeder valve nut. Once this thing comes in here, the brake fluid, make sure you tighten the bleeder valve nut and then release the brake pedal. So you have to just repeat the process again and again. Depress the brake pedal, loosen the bleeder valve, tighten it, release the brake pedal. Now make sure you do this till you see the new, that is clear brake fluid coming into the line. So until then we'll just repeat the process and we'll get back to you once the new brake fluid starts coming into the vinyl hose. Okay, so now as you can see in the vinyl hose, the color of the fluid has changed. This is the new brake fluid coming out of the lines. Now at this point you have to make sure that there's no air. There'll be some air bubbles visible here. I don't know if you can see them, but at this point you have to make sure that there's you have to keep repeating the process of pumping and expelling out the brake fluid in order to get the entire air bubbles out of the system. You don't need any air in the brake lines, so make sure you continue the pumping process until you see clear fluid coming out of the vinyl hose. So you still have some air bubbles, as you can see. You don't need those. You have to keep the pumping process going on till you get rid of those air bubbles. Okay, so make sure you take a rag whilst removing the vinyl hose so that you can cover it with the cloth whilst taking it off, so that you make sure you don't spill any of the brake fluid in the vinyl hose onto your calipers. So that's how you take it off. Okay, so now that we are done with the rear brake, let's move on to the front. So the first thing you need to do is take this reservoir cap off. Make sure that this thing's clean, wipe it off before you do this. And one more thing, as I mentioned earlier, you need to get the right size bit for this, otherwise you'll end up stripping these screw heads off. So get that and nice and snug. Mine are pretty loose, otherwise you might need to tap them with a hammer. So now just take it off. Also make sure that you cover the painted areas with a cloth, or else if at all the brake fluid spills out, then your paint is going to get damaged. Carefully take this off. So you can take a look at the fluid. The color is pretty bad. It's turned black. So just like we did for the rear brakes, we're going to suck the whole fluid out and dump it off into the bottle using a syringe. Okay, so now I've got these two cleaned. I've used soap water for these two, and I've emptied the reservoir. Now we're going to go ahead and pour in the new brake fluid into the reservoir. Make sure you do this slowly. And carefully so that we don't spill any out. Now I'm going to go ahead and just cover this so that if at all whilst pumping the brakes we spill any brake fluid out, this cover is going to take care of it. Okay, so we are going to need a 11 mm wrench for this particular nut here. Please loosen it. Go ahead and put the vinyl hose. Make sure it's nice and snug. Now, once that's in, we have to basically repeat the same process as we did for the rear. Pump, loosen the lead valve nut, and then tighten it and release the brake lever. Basically, hold the brake lever in. There you see it coming. We're going to repeat the entire process for the front as well. That is, hold the brake lever, loosen the nut, tighten the nut, release the brake lever. So we're going to do this until we see the clear fluid coming into the vinyl hose. Okay, so now you can see the clear brake fluid, the new brake fluid coming out of the vinyl hose. So you're going to basically try and expel all the air out of the system. So you have to do the same pumping process until your air bubbles are not going to show here. So we'll continue with that, and once we have clear fluid coming out without any air bubbles, that's going to be it. We'll stop after that. So now make sure once you're done with the air bubbles and everything, once you're done taking out all of the air out of the system, make sure you fill this up to the upper limit. Don't overfill this. That should be fine. You should just see an air bubble in this particular window here. And that should be fine. Okay guys, so that was it for the video. We saw how to bleed the brakes, the rear and the front on the R15 version 3, and yeah, that was about it. You'll just saw how to get it done. I showed you all a few tips and tricks to get it done in a clean manner. So yeah, if you do like the video, please give us a thumbs up, do share this with your friends, and do subscribe to our channel. We'll be coming up with more videos like this for you. So we'll see you in the next one. So until then, bye. You guys take care.